We are going to get my husband's friend, JD Vance, elected for 48 in the most resounding way possible.
Something is definitely off with Erika Kirk.
Is he the person you plan to ultimately support for 2028?
He's a dear friend. My husband and him were very good friends.
So JD Vance has officially cut Erika Kirk off completely, shutting down any idea she may have had about them moving forward together. Whatever hopes Erika had of riding off into the sunset with him are clearly over, and she is not taking it well. This wasn't a mild disagreement or a calculated PR move. According to insiders, JD wasn't acting on advice from his team. This reaction was personal. The turning point came the moment JD saw the explicit texts between Erika and her ex. People close to the situation say he was genuinely disgusted. He couldn't believe he had even entertained her presence for a moment. Once that reality hit him, he pulled away immediately. While Erika has been scrambling, trying to contain the fallout from the leaked messages, JD has already created clear distance. His actions make it obvious that he has no interest in sticking around to see how this story ends.
And I see no one will ever replace my husband. No. But I do see some similarities of my husband in JD.
Before this situation became public, JD Vance was still deeply involved in Erika's world. At that point, she still had his attention. But everything changed the moment those private messages from her ex came out of the shadows and landed somewhere she never expected them to end up. It's important to understand that these texts were not splashed across mainstream news or pushed into viral headlines. In some ways, that made things worse. Instead of being brushed off as online gossip, the messages spread quietly and privately until they eventually landed directly in front of JD himself. Before that happened, Erika clearly believed she was still in control. She even appeared in an interview where she tried to get ahead of the story, warning people to stop sharing information about her or face consequences. It was an obvious attempt to shut things down before they reached the wrong audience. If you're finding this breakdown helpful, make sure to like this video, subscribe to the channel, and let us know in the comments which city you're watching from. Now let's continue.
Stop. That's it. That's all I have to say. Stop.
From everything we've learned, Erika seems to have believed that as long as the leaks stayed unofficial, JD would never actually see them. That assumption turned out to be a massive mistake. JD did see the messages, and when he read them, he was stunned. The content of those texts didn't match anything she had been telling him privately. They directly contradicted the traditional, conservative image she had carefully built around herself. That image was something she believed would keep JD connected to her. Instead, it became the very thing that unraveled everything. What reportedly pushed him over the edge wasn't just embarrassment. It was the realization that the person he thought he knew didn't line up with the behavior laid out clearly in front of him. Once people started replaying the timeline, the warning signs became impossible to ignore. It began with that now infamous hug that happened publicly. That moment instantly changed how people viewed Erika and JD together. What started as whispers quickly turned into suspicion. The way she clung to him didn't feel like a polite public interaction. It felt personal, even possessive, and that made people uncomfortable.
And I see no one will ever replace my husband. No. But I do see some similarities of my husband in JD and Vice President JD Vance. I do.
Things became even more uncomfortable when Erika introduced JD as being like Charlie literally 2 minutes after Charlie had died. At the same time, JD's wife, Yusha, was sitting right there in the audience, watching the moment unfold in real time. Despite that, Erika leaned in. She closed the space between them, rubbed his head, held on longer than necessary, and acted as if the room around them didn't exist. JD did not appear relaxed or engaged in the moment. He looked stiff and guarded, smiling the way people do when they're trying to get through something without causing a scene. The physical closeness was clearly being driven by Erika, not him. This moment aged even worse later on. When Erika finally had a clear opportunity to shut the rumors down during her appearance on the Megyn Kelly show, she chose not to. Instead of acknowledging how the situation looked or setting boundaries, she brushed it off. She explained the hug by saying that physical touch was her love language and claimed she hugs everyone that way. She then doubled down, suggesting that anyone who felt uncomfortable probably just needed to hug themselves. Rather than calming the situation, that response shifted the blame onto everyone else.
Forgive me, did you see people didn't understand the hug that you and JD had? They went to the weirdest places, Erika.
Oh my gosh. You guys, please. So for those of you who know me, I hug is
Yes,
like,
you're an intense hugger. It's
whoever
awesome.
is like hating on a hug needs a hug themselves.
That explanation didn't settle anything. It reframed a very specific and uncomfortable moment as if it were everyone else's issue. Looking back now, many people believe that hug wasn't random at all. It was a preview. This is where things reportedly crossed the line for JD. Once he allegedly read the texts, there was no way to emotionally distance himself from what they revealed. Sources close to him say his reaction was immediate and visceral. What made the situation even worse was the timing. At the same moment those messages surfaced, there were already persistent, though unconfirmed, rumors that JD was preparing to divorce Usha and move forward with Erika. At events, JD and Usha appeared increasingly distant. Usha had also been seen multiple times without her wedding ring. That fueled speculation that something behind the scenes was already falling apart. Because of that, the Erika angle gained serious traction. From the outside, it looked like JD was emotionally detaching from one life and slowly moving toward another. Erika positioned herself as the alternative. White, Christian, outspokenly conservative, someone who appeared to fit the image JD's political base expects Usha, meanwhile, was framed online as the opposite. Indian, immigrant, Hindu, and visibly outside the MAGA aesthetic. That contrast mattered. JD wasn't just risking his marriage, he was risking his reputation and credibility, all based on the belief that Erika was exactly who she claimed to be. When her past texts suddenly appeared in front of him, explicit, unfiltered, and impossible to reconcile with her public image, it didn't just feel embarrassing, it felt like betrayal. Once those messages surfaced, everything Erika thought she had buried came rushing back. People began digging into her history. Despite her repeated claims that she never dated, a long trail of documented relationships surfaced. Her past as a video vixen re-emerged, including one raunchy music video she had clearly hoped was forgotten. Clips from her time on Summer House also resurfaced, showing her drinking, partying, and openly dating multiple men. None of this was new information. That was the problem. It had always existed. She simply assumed it would never matter again. Once the spotlight intensified, her past connected directly to the present. The leaked texts stopped looking like an isolated mistake and started looking like part of a pattern. That's why the fallout hit so hard. People, including JD, weren't just reacting to messages. They were reacting to the realization that the persona he believed in may never have been real. And once that realization sets in, there's no undoing it now. Instead of fading away, Erika appears to be making one final push to reinsert herself into JD's orbit. She has publicly announced her endorsement of him for the next presidential election. She's lined up press appearances that position her as loyal, aligned, and ideologically useful. She's trying to present herself as a future-facing MAGA figure.
We are going to get my husband's friend, JD Vance, elected for 48 in the most resounding way possible.
It almost feels like she's trying to remind JD and his base of what she believes she still brings to the table. The timing has not gone unnoticed. After everything that has happened, her actions come across as calculated attempts to force her way back into relevance. But here's what's making people pause. None of it appears to be working. JD has not acknowledged her publicly. There have been no signals that the door is even slightly open. By all accounts, he's finished. Not in a dramatic or explosive way, but in the kind of silence that leaves no room for negotiation. That's what makes this situation so uncomfortable. If this public rebrand fails to pull him back in, the real question becomes how far Erika is willing to go next, and whether she understands that this time, there may be no way back. For all the noise Erika is making, the endorsements, the interviews, the positioning, JD's silence is doing more damage than any statement ever could. He didn't attack her. He didn't explain himself. He simply stepped away and let the contrast speak for itself. What began as leaked excess turned into a complete collapse of credibility. And instead of regaining control, every move Erika has made since has reinforced why JD walked away in the first place. Now she's pushing forward alone, trying to force relevance back into a story that has already moved on without her. While JD remains quiet, distant, and seemingly unmoved by any of it,